Let's see what we have today for news. I think the mic will get louder on its own, right? Right? Usually does. All right. Checking news. So we do have high impact news coming right up in 4 minutes. So non-farm employment, and also in about 20 minutes, unemployment claims. So we got a bunch of news over the next 20 minutes. So we want to get past that and see what's up with the dollar pairs. But, of course, we'll be ready and do our thing first. I didn't even think about that. The fact that it was non-farm week is not horrible for non-farm week, right? We'll see what happens today. There's been a few decent setups there. Alright, so just looking at the rest of the news. So in the next 20 minutes, a couple pieces of high-impact news. High impact for the pound. Okay, dude is speaking. So that's the main focus of this session. Now, of course, tomorrow is big news. And as I say about non-farm, even traders who trade Fridays might be skipping tomorrow because it's dangerous. Or it could be a really big win. Depends how you look at it. Depends what you do. Alright, so let's see where we are. So euro-dollar, of course, all this dollar stuff could change in a second, well, to some extent. Things could develop quickly on the news, so we'll just see where we are and see what happens with news. Yesterday we shorted, no, we didn't short here. Well, I didn't, but there was a sort of an okay short setup there. You see it got bought up really quickly. I think that was on the news drop and it got bought up, right? We had generally a bearish background if we're talking about shorting, so we don't have to go back and look at that. But remember, this ideally was to short from here. There was a decent short. It was, right around the open, actually. Anybody take that? I think people mentioned it in the chat. But in this bearish environment, and I could see passing on this trade maybe because this turned out to be buying yesterday into this down move. So it's not great to see how that to your left when you're selling, but overall it's bearish. And this zone was just full of selling as it needed to be. Really good. As far as the reaction there. But, yeah, I'd want to sell it. Maybe if news brings it up and it comes in as weakness, we can look to sell off of that. There was a lot of volume here yesterday, if we look at the 1 hour just overall. And then the weakness here, not so much, but it came down because it was a bearish environment. It was a good place to look for the short. The 5 minute was very clean. But there was a lot of volume here. And not so much there. So it's not like a ton of sellers were active here. There just wasn't really that much buying. That's why it was able to come down off of that. See, the volume is really low, so it's just not much buying. There was more selling than buying here, and it was able to set up and do that. But in the big picture, it's been pretty quiet, and there's a lot of buying off of this, so it's a little, So we'll see what news does, maybe clarify things a bit. And this is getting pretty choppy here. mixed up. See, I can see that it may even break out. If you think about the fact that there was all this activity here as a 4-hour, it led to the up move. It was a sign of strength, and then again, the selling not very heavy. Enough for the setup to move to some extent, but I could see it doing that actually. If you see the buying and the selling and compare, which is not something I would buy right now, expecting that is not a proper setup to think about doing. But we'll just take in news and see where we are with after that. So the pound weakness was the story yesterday. Very weak. Nothing's really changed. Let's take a look at the low. There's a bit of strength, but not going to make me want to buy or call it accumulation. So I'd look for short setups, obviously. This is, at least we got a retracement here. This is actually not bad. We can get past news and consider that. Kind of sloppy there. Pretty sloppy today. But the weakness is there where it needs to be. It's a downtrend. Above 618, fake break, weakness. So again, we'll have to see what news does. We just had some. We have some more in a few minutes. High impact for the dollar. This is the projection now that it's going to come down. Typically, trends won't reverse very far without a strong trend like that, without more signs of strength. We'll see what news does, but that's the likely direction there. And you obviously bearish yesterday, took the short, and what the hell is that? In a bearish environment where a short setup is playing out, you suddenly get that much buying, and then you look at this, and it's not, trap move weakness stuff. This is strong buying. All this stuff here. I was hoping it was going to get to 23 for final target. It got to 26. But it's all good. But that kind of messes it up. Again, that's the thing. We can't get this really good out of balance stuff on some of these pairs. But it did continue down. Yesterday was really active and kind of odd at this time of day here on a lot of pairs. Generally, if we're still bearish, though, this is not a place to look to sell, right? 618 is the last place I would look to sell. And we just back out. It's basically a downtrend that had a nice retracement. If we get through the 618, I'll consider it still bearish. Let's see how it's reacting in the fib area, too. That'll tell us about, okay, sign of strength. Yeah. Remember, it's a downtrend. It's just not enough strength and proper background to go long off of that sign of strength at 618. I definitely would not take that. And again, it's not a place to look to short, so I don't know. Come back to it. Pound yen. We know the pound is weak. And with the pound, this guy is speaking in 40 minutes. May have some effect. Keep that in mind. Or not. I'd like a retracement, please. More retracement, please. 14 EMA shorts. So they always have to work a little bit at least, right? I'd like to see, up move, sign of weakness. Maybe even just slightly to new high ground for the day, something. That's not a very clear resistance, though. I mean, the real basic trade is let's get a regular fib retracement. This is kind of a weird situation to draw the fib. I don't really like that. That's kind of random. There is that. Okay, that kind of helps with that. Just trying to get a view on it. It's kind of just sloppy. But again, basically, it's a strong downtrend. We haven't seen enough buying to go long. We would need retracement and sign of weakness for traditional setup. This is kind of still low to the bottom and hung around here a lot, rather than really getting rejected off of very active selling or something. That didn't quite happen there. This isn't exactly new high ground either. It's still the same area, which helps get into trades in these situations. If we went to new high ground and saw a lot of weakness and came back, fake breakout, but that did not happen. All right, AJ. I mean, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. Right? Just want to get through it, and get past the news. The rest of the news is in 8 minutes. High impact news, and hone in on whatever opportunities may be there. AJ, really, if you see, look at the daily, it's really stuck and sideways there. It's a pretty big range, but it's a range, clearly. So, if it's this obviously much a range, obviously volume could tell us if it's has a bias in one direction or another. It's such a, this is just yesterday's high volume at this time of day. It's just odd because it was just nonsensical. But we're trending down strong, and the lower prices are not attracting accumulation. So short is the direction, at least for now. I know it's basically a range, but then again, you got to say we're at the bottom of the range. So that's not where I would sell. I'd sell off the top. What's the bottom? I don't know that. Closest thing to a range trade is that, and a sign of strength obviously there. If there is a retracement, a sign of weakness, I wouldn't mind selling it, and support being target. So if we move up, weakness and short, because it is trending down well. But otherwise, if it tests the low, to look for high volume from a 1 hour point of view, because it's counter momentum, counter trend, and trade the range if the setup is there. But it's a range because, well, it's been a really long time for accumulation or distribution. It's been a little too long there. That's a month. Typically, it's a day or 2 or 3. But it's also a range because volume is not really standing out, showing pre-positioning one way or the other. But it's been a range way too long for that anyway. So it's really a range, which is buy the low, sell the high. It's that simple. If the setup is there, of course. Now EJ, it actually ended up doing this yesterday, but I didn't love the setup. How did that end up? that's hindsight. That shouldn't have behaved that way down there. Typically, you want some volume increases off the low prices, or else I'm not taking it if it's really that flat. Oh well. But there was strength to some extent, but it didn't really prove to be accumulation. The way that looks, I didn't like it. And now it's breaking anyway, right? Okay. So, the long never set up right, even though it had a temporary bounce. It wasn't right, and it's continuing down. It's not reversing. Again, the idea of buying the yen pairs, as I said yesterday, was not good unless really, really things changed and volume backed it up and everything else. But again, AJ is nearing support, so well, it's sort of nearing, not exactly. In a little while, you'll probably get there. But still no buying. EJ, again, the sign of strength didn't play out properly. It's breaking. And it's most likely going to support. Now this is a breakout trade late in the down move, so that's not an entry I want to take. Fake breakouts happen all the time. Could hit some buyers. Look at the 5 minute. Yeah, whatever. And news in 3 minutes. It's likely a real breakout. We'll see what it looks like after news. Well, the dollar pairs are looking quite bearish at the moment. We already know pound is weak, so that might be a good one. Let's get past the news in 2 minutes. Let's see where we are. So we got our news. Let's take a look. I mean, if you want to, we can do something else if you want. No, look at the charts. Okay. Well, if the pound settles, we'll see where we are, because this was where we would want to see a low volume test, and obviously the weakness wasn't so good though. Can we get a clean setup? Hello. I think we're gonna have to go for I don't know what, lemonade trade today. Don't try this at home. So there's officially no setups. Not at the moment. Aw, Pete. What's the win ratio been like the last 2 months? Like 90%? Trust me. But let's see. There's something. Right now, this news me it's just not helping anything. Nothing's been helped. Nothing's been helped. It's made a okay situation worse. For example, right, we're talking about shorting the euro, but the buying was here, so it's a little mixed up, and now what are you going to do at this point? I'm not buying off of that. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's just too sloppy of a situation. Simply put, the pound never gave a good sign of weakness to get into this trend, even though it went to the areas that you would expect to see them, which means it could easily do this. And also, as far as the pound, there's a speech in 20 minutes, so maybe it'll pop up there and hit weakness and bottom out properly off of that. A lot of maybes. And now this is breaking 618 on low volume, right? That's why I'm saying the news is just not helping. A break of 618 on low volume means what? It's likely to continue and do another leg down if you want to aggressively even look to get in at that point. But we're seeing high volume. It's news, so the volume's high, and it's not even creating the breakout. So there's definitely some large buying in there too, because it's still just sitting around here on all that volume. So it's buying and selling. It's not really good. This is ass. I mean, just look, ass. Mr. Bader, is there weakness on dollar Swiss? Well, let's see where this whole thing is here. Okay, a range on the daily. Overall picture is a range. I'm just trying to get my bearings. This 14 crap yesterday is just well, it's news, and typically if I'm going to trade news or aggressively right after news, there's going to be a situation leading up to it and what that makes sense, and I would be looking to get in with or without the news. That I don't see that this would be a setup. I guess you could say it's a fib. No. Not even. Well, if you go there, no. Yeah, it's not a setup. No, I would not say it's a setup. But you're asking if there's weakness, and technically there's an up move on news, and the reaction to the up move is down. It's taken as weakness. But is it tradable right now as far as where everything is? I wouldn't trade it into support with a very messy, rangy background. And it's ranging because it is what it is. It's smart money's not moving it around. They're not pre-positioning big. They're not marking up, marking down big. It's just inactive. There's not a consensus to really move things around. Maybe this is a situation with the Swiss in particular. So to be in that situation, I mean, again, range, I like to sell high, buy low if it's truly a range, and that can work for a while with a range, obviously. But we're not even talking about buying the bottom. So yeah, there's no big picture here supporting any sort of trade. Okay, you got the idea. Okay, good. is explaining ass charts day. It is non-farm payroll tomorrow. I mean, typically these days are not the best. The day before non-farm. Typically this week is not the best week of the month. But there were a few decent setups. Well, I can't even make up a trade right now. That's how uncertain, or just, it's a combination of uncertainty, mixed backgrounds, and nothing clear today. News didn't help. And these are just facts. The market is not in a confident mode where there's a consensus among smart money and high probability situations are forming. Just facts. So being that it's so early, I'll just hang around. See if things clean up, if anything comes around. But again, it's not farm payroll week. If we can get past tomorrow, as if we're not going to get past tomorrow. We can get past tomorrow, right? Saturday will come? Okay. Then typically the week after is good, and it's all fine after that. Reason being, logically, is that large, big news late in the week, Friday, and particularly the non-farm Friday, numbers and news can create the consensus in the what we're looking for on the chart, right? The consensus. Seeing smart money confidently trading in large positions, pre-positioning for moves and all that stuff. If they get numbers and news, then they have something to build a consensus off, right? So that's what it is right now. If you want 10 trades a day, buy a scalp system with a bunch of arrows and bells and... No, don't do that. But yeah, I need a little more certainty than this, so I'll hang around and see what happens. I wasn't here Tuesday. I was ready to do a long session if need be, and it's just ass. It's the word of the day, ass. Mr. D, I'm trying to work out a bug in this at the moment. I won't even ask you to explain it. Okay, cool. Can you stop so you can explain it to me? No, that's all right. Nothing too crazy. So you set it up, and I guess it's just not behaving properly. A bug. Maybe we confused it. This chart says nobody knows what's going on with the pound yen today. 11 minutes, something speaking with the pound. I don't know, I don't care. So maybe they're just waiting for that, and the pound will clean up. We really would be best to see a up move and sign of weakness on the pound pairs. It's been weak. We see there's still a lot of shorts in there. Besides some that got out yesterday at 14, just a mess in our background right now. But it did continue and close lower, which is not a proper sign of strength. It's not too much accumulation. So maybe in 10 minutes, this speech will cause an up move and a sign of weakness to short the pound. I don't know. Maybe. Not sure if it's just not reading it right. there's anything I could do, I would, but I don't think so. The potential, like really aggressive trades, lemonade trades, scalp entries, that's not even happening. Look at that mess. This is a decision point. High volume at 618. You have a higher probability of bounce. It means buyers came in of support. Low volume or medium volume, as it breaks through, it tends to continue. And you have things, signs of strength, signs of weakness. I mean, if you look at this, it's high volume. And we're past news now. And it's not bouncing or breaking. This whole thing is like a 10 pip range. So you have to include this large buying and large selling. That's why the price didn't really go anywhere. It was just large buying and large selling in a small price area. Does that say consensus and agreement on where this is going to go? No. As charts, that was the theme of the day. This is fact. Very strong downtrend here, right? This for the day and yesterday, at least, last 2 days. Giving us a sign of strength. What do you do with that? Nothing. It's not enough buying to get long, and it means don't short right now. So there's no third option, is there? And EJ support, it's like the 618 on AU. Looks like a good sign of strength there, right? Looks like a fake break, high volume. So let's look at the 5 minute. What the hell? What the hell? That's weakness. As it's buying and selling. No consensus. What a mess. I will tell you now, smart money has kind of gotten themselves into a mess. A lot of them are in positions that are not good. Fact. Somebody's going to lose. Well, it's good to know this stuff. So you're not taking losses and going, what the hell's going on, right? Alright, I'll check back in a little bit. Maybe I'll have a session on Monday, I don't know. Typically after Friday non-farm, and it's pretty late in the day as far as where it is in the session, right? It's pretty late in the session, New York. It gets a little wild, and it's nice to have a day after that, Monday, to have a day pass, and then you got a background going on. So maybe not, I don't know. Alright, I'll check back soon. is out, but the webinar gives you 5 minutes to reconnect, so I made it back in time for the lovely charts. Okay. There's some. It's like the question is, what would I even trade today? Like euro dollar, I wouldn't trade that today or tomorrow. Nope. Pound dollar. Look at this. No. And the guy's speaking now. Hey, you. Would I even trade it? If we clearly get through here and there's no buying coming in, it's bearish, but not in a good position, really great position, but it's something. And yeah, no, I don't think so. No, well, at this point, it's into support on the bottom of the trend. So, I mean, unless there's climactic volume and we're looking to buy, there's no trade there. So that's a possibility. That is the one I don't trust. And plus, waiting for a retracement and then looking at short, it would be way too late in the day by that point. So I'm just looking at any possible tradable things here. Have to be high volume. It was a strong move. I really want to see good buying. And look for the long if it's climactic. It takes a little while to set up too. Not great as it gets later and later here. AJ, again, likely going to support. Didn't get the retracement. Didn't get a situation to try to get in with potentially strength coming in here, but then it's now going lower, so we'll see what the lower prices are bringing. It's not bad to see this kind of stuff and more aggressively look to short if the low prices are going to have really lack of high volume. Then maybe the 14 EMA, rejections are going to continue. I'm looking for any possible situation to trade here. We'll see if that comes around. Maybe. EJ. It's going to support at this point. Nothing to do. I wouldn't sell here. I wouldn't buy here. This price area. Not now. Okay. Well, the strength coming in here in this down move. It's technically a fake breakout. UJ. Or it could be a fake breakout. If we can get back. Yeah. Not horrible. here. Typically, though, if you know 5 or 6 pairs are all kind of off, you're not going to find anything that's going to be suddenly clean anywhere. Look at the Euro switch just now. I mean, come on. It's a mix of buying and selling, no consensus, all that shit. It's all over the place. EA, that crap. Yeah, I knew something was off before this. Before this even happened. It's just getting worse. Yeah, it comes down to basically there's two potential trades that are both not great. That's what it is. If pound yen hits climactic volume here, it's going to be at least another hour and 40 minutes because this has to close and then another one to confirm bullish, the sign of strength on in 1 hour. Unless you go more aggressive and not wait for that. It's not that late. It's possible. But earlier would be better for that. We're talking about a reversal, you know. And then the other was maybe scalping the AJ. That's it. Which again is not my typical trade, but possible. Should get to support. That's the bottom of the range that I have marked, but there is also this low. If we look at that now, even less room. Because obviously that is a real support, you know. From there. You can even say this is a support. Now look at it. You still want to sell? Support, support, support. S. State the obvious. If there's support, then there's a increased probability that buying could come in, which would fuck up the short trade. It's not a time to sell into those price areas. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Everybody's also saying, I don't know. That's the headline. Except some of them are in trades. Sucks for them. Gonna suck for somebody. With this mess of positions all over the place. You're tired of hearing me complain? You can... Mr. Yes, oh, let me turn this crap off so I can see. Seems to be strength. Australian dollar versus Canadian dollar. AC seems to be strength. And what about the rest of it? Strength? don't see strength. Strength most basically is defined, my screen is paused, as a down move that hits high volume and rejects. Which wouldn't be that. It's potentially weakness, actually, depending on the result. But if you look at the 5 minute, this is technically weakness, but continuing higher and not seeing weakness is a mixed signal of temporary selling. And you have higher prices on some sort of medium volume. It's not low. It's a mess, and I certainly don't see proper strength. I'm not sure what you're referring to exactly, but technically there's no sign of strength. Maybe this, but there's much more activity here, and that's really the potential weakness here. No, not really. I don't see it. So high volume has to be in the down move. Yeah, this is very basic stuff. Sign of strength. I don't know how much you know or don't know. But to give you the basics, yeah, a sign of strength is, there's a principle that lower prices, the way I put it is lower prices may attract buyers. We're talking about the sign of strength here, buyers. And if the volume is high into lower prices and it gets rejected, like closing off the low, bouncing on the next candle, right, then that's a sign of strength. So yeah, into lower prices, yeah. Just think of prices going down and that attracting buyers. It's a principle of a market, like something going on sale. Put something on sale is going to attract buyers, and typically the activity would increase. So very basic market principle. And the price goes up, the same thing. It hits high volume and comes down. As a result, then it's a sign of weakness. So if you take that, and then you look for the test, which you're seeing in action on the setups and stuff, that's your most basic sequence to get into a trade. Sign of strength test or sign of weakness test, low volume test, which has to occur in a certain way and all that. Also, of course, looking at the price reaction to support resistance, the fib zone that I use in certain, looking at the reaction to areas that are important like that, as far as if there's strength or if there isn't, kind of tips you off as to what smart money is doing. So if you're testing support and the activity doesn't increase, logically the buyers are not very active. And there wouldn't be a high probability tradable buy off support without volume. So those are the ingredients you're working with. Following that price area, basic patterns, basic technical analysis to find levels, and knowing how they operate. A lot of experience. But yeah, these are very basic things, so if you don't know the basics, you may not get everything I'm saying, because, well, there is the video course. It is on sale, actually. The price has been lowered a lot. I can lower it more for you if you want. I have the power to do that. If you really want the course, you want a lower price, let me know. And then you'll get all the basics. Like 14 hours or whatever. You can learn it in a few days. Well, some of the stuff repeats. It's just to make sure. It's not like it's 14 hours. It sounds like overwhelming, but a lot of examples, a couple of webinars and things. But yeah, I don't see the great condition today. Really crappy. Ass, right? The word of the day. I think the pound yen is really the last hope. Talking about buying the pound. This is how desperate we are. After that drop this week. But if it sets up right, it sets up right. It's got to happen. Got to sit through it and wait, too. Well, hopefully my power and internet don't go out again. If I disappear, you know what happened. Okay, at least this is happening. This is Wall Street open right now. Get a little increase in activity. So, as we were talking about, sign of strength here. And a fake breakout pattern would be the beginning of the setup. But again, it's counter trend, counter background. And to really do it right, we have to give it time. Sign of strength confirming on the 1 hour is obviously a 2-candle pattern, 2 hours, or an hour and a half or so at this point. And making sure that the 5-minute is backing everything up, and we're seeing the right activity here in detail, which would be really just consistent buying into any down moves and accumulation type of activity. obviously there's a limit to how low it can go, and we are pretty much reaching that limit. One way to judge the quality of these fake breakouts is seeing how fast price comes back into the range above the orange line. So it could look horrible like this, like it's really breaking out, but if volume's excessively high, and let's say the next candle or two brings you back into range, then it's fine. If we're going to sit here in new low ground, and we see these prices get accepted and not rejected, then it's more likely a real breakout. It's definitely not a long situation. We're not really seeing that the lower prices are getting rejected. You know, it's sitting down here, so it's so far not a good start. But there are probably a lot of people taking that a breakout. And we want to see if the buyers come in and stop that or what. So ugly, the euro dollar. That's just horrible. That's horrible. Yeah. See, there's the 14 EMA. I didn't want to take it. I don't trust it. And again, here we see it's not really rejecting the low prices right now. Volume is high. Let's see if we can get back up there or not. I don't know, guys. This might be totally a waste of time today. I don't think we've seen charts this ugly in a long time. We could say that. Pretty bad. the way this is sitting down here, so it looks like it's not happening. One last look at the ass charts. Yeah. And if I was by myself, I would have closed these charts by now. So, on tomorrow is the high impact news. Monday's a good day to have in between, and Tuesday everything should be hopefully cleaner, and onward. It's non-farm week. At least we've had a win. Tuesday, I missed it, so who knows what would happen then. But it was a good trade yesterday. Anything else I could do, let me know. If you want me to go over anything next session, or, if you have any questions on anything. Try to make it good use of the time one way or another. Alright, guys. See you Tuesday.